Welcome to Real Estate Exposed, helping people in San Diego buy, sell, and refinance their biggest investment, delivering you timely truths, exposing important issues, and helping you get into the right home. Here are your hosts, real estate expert Daniel Beer, top-ranked professional by sales volume at one of San Diego's largest brokerages, and his mortgage partner, Todd with over $2 billion in funded loans.
In San Diego, this is your buddy Todd Pianin, and I have to say my partner Dan Beer is not here today. He's on vacation, but we have somebody even better. We have somebody from the Daniel Beer Group, his number one buyer's agent, and we're super excited to have Brian Danney in the house. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Good morning, and hello, everybody out there.
Brian's a little nervous, first time on the radio, so we'll take it easy on him. But Brian and I just came back. We have to say to you guys, those of you who went to the home selling seminar over the last week, Brian was there at all 6 sessions, and that was an incredible event, wasn't it?
It was incredible, and I just want to have to thank Todd and Dan for having me be a part of that and invite me. It was just incredible to see the process and seeing people respond to the process, and I was just really amazed and impressed with everything for the past 3 days.
It was great. It was a great event. I think Dan did a fantastic job as usual. I hope you guys who did go got something out of it and enjoyed yourselves and were able to take some nuggets away and realize how you can do things differently and how Dan does do things differently. Like we like to call him the disruptor. And he likes to get rid of that list and pray model, so I'm pretty excited about that. It was a great time, and it was great meeting listeners who were there, so thank you so much for coming. But today, we're going to talk all about buying. We've got in my opinion, one of the number one buyer's agents in the county here in our studio. So super excited about that. Super excited. I'm going to give you a telephone number that you can call, and you can give us all you got to do is you call, leave a message, and Brian will contact you if you want to talk to him off the air about selling, and that's 858-900-3368. Again, 858-900-3368. But let's just jump into some current events. I don't know, Brian, did you see?
Regarding buying.
Brian is the king of helping you buy a home, and we're going to talk about that in the next couple segments, what Brian does for you. But let's talk about what's going on around the county. Did you hear that they're talking about raising the hotel tax to be able to pay for the new stadium for the Chargers?
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it. Please. I mean, I have not heard a thing. I was worried we might lose Chargers here, so anything we can do to keep them here. And
The rumor I heard was the mayor put out that he's saying he's going to raise the hotel tax to $15 a night to help pay for this stadium.
Wow.
And at least it's good for me. It's good to see, as Dan and I always talk about, because San Diego is such a great city, to see that we're actually putting some effort into getting the Chargers to stay here. So I'm super excited about that. That's one of the things I'm super excited about. The other thing the geek in me has to be super excited too. I'm sorry to bring this up, but last week what week was it, Brian?
It was Back to the Future week.
Yep, and you guys know I'm a geek.
Yes, incredible. I mean, honestly, Back to the Future 2, one of the best movies ever out there. Although the prediction for the Cubs winning the World Series failed, I'm still waiting for my hoverboard and my Nike shoes that tie up pretty quick.
They said in 2016 they're going to release those shoes.
I hope so.
They're for charity purposes only.
Oh, my God.
And the other really big geek news this week, they're saying opening weekend of Star Wars Force Awakens is going to do over $600 million. Again, this is my geekiness going out, and Dan's not here, so I can talk about it. He doesn't even know who Star Wars is.
I have to admit, I have not seen the new trailer yet. Is it?
It's everything you want and more.
That's right.
Everything you want and more. And our at Home Street Bank, where I work, our director of marketing is she's already got her own droid that her and her husband are playing with. So it's actually she's making me want to go buy a droid. The new BB-8. She's told me all about it. When we went to lunch the other day, I got super excited about that too. Okay. So. Couple other big things happening in the news this week. I don't know if you've seen it, but now all of a sudden the Republican Party has changed their tune, and now they're getting behind the Donald. You're laughing.
I am.
Why are you laughing?
No, you're so enthusiastic about talking about Mr. Trump here, so I just curious to see where you're going to go next.
I just think that, the Donald has done a very, very good job of basically turning the establishment around, and people are getting behind him, and the polls are showing that if he goes head-to-head against Hillary, he could actually beat her. And our people are, not our people, but my people are, the Republicans are getting behind him as he possibly could be our next candidate. So any thoughts on that, Brian? What do you think about the Donald?
I enjoyed his SNL appearance a few weeks back. I'll leave it at that.
Nice. Well, we're super excited again to have Brian Danney here. Brian, how many transactions on the buyer's side are you going to close this year?
This year, right now on pace for somewhere around 40.
40 transactions.
40 transactions, yes.
And if you listen to our show, Dan and I always tell you that the average real estate agent in San Diego will only close 2 to 3 transactions. Yeah. Do you realize that Brian is only closing buyer transactions? The best buyer, one of the best buyer's agents that we work with here at Home Street Bank, I have to tell you. He takes care of his clients. He's going to tell you all about it after the break. But if you want to get in touch with Brian, you can call him. He'll reach out to you. He'll talk to you. He'll give you more personal information. You can reach out to him by calling 858-900-3368, and Brian will give you a free buyer's consultation in his office, and it will be a great experience. It'll be something that you will be super excited about. So out of the 40 transactions, Brian, do you specify in any one county one part of the county?
No, that's the beautiful thing. I don't limit myself to one area. I work all over. I have clients all different price points. So I give the same sort of service to all different clients at all different price points in all different areas.
And you and Dan, how you guys work things differently is because you're part of the Daniel Beer Group at Windermere Homes and Estates, but Dan doesn't work with buyers, right?
That's correct. Dan only works on the listing side of things, so he only works with the sellers. And I personally, I take a pride and enjoy only working with the buy side. So it's a nice mix between the two with Dan and I.
So how do you explain to me? A lot of realtors out there don't like working with buyers. And it seems to me that you just enjoy it, you embrace it.
I do.
What's the secret sauce?
There's always some sort of motivation with these buyers, whether it's the first-time home buyer, whether it's their family's growing, whatever it is, it's the next chapter in their life. And to get them excited about going to that next chapter and being able to accomplish that for them, it's just it's really rewarding. So that's certainly a big part of it.
Got it. And where are a lot of the buyers that you're getting? Where do they come from? How are you picking them up?
It's a lot of word of mouth, a lot of referrals, certainly through our website, which you can visit at SanDiegoHomefinder.com. And, it's just people inquiring and looking for some help and assistance. Certainly meet them out in network as well. But, it's a good thing we have here, and we have a good process, which I'll get into in a little bit. So
I'm super excited to hear about what you do differently, and we're going to talk about that after the break. We are a Sunday morning, beautiful Sunday morning, KOGO 600. I'm here with Brian Danney from the Daniel Beer Group, his top buyer's agent on the team, my favorite person on his team to work with right now. So we'll see you right after the break. And we're back on a beautiful Sunday morning, and I know, Brian, that you probably have tons of buyers you have to go out and show homes to this weekend. I'm super excited that you actually took some time this morning while Dan's out of town.
Absolutely. For
you to come out here and to sit and talk to us. So, Brian, we like to expose things on this show, so I'm going to expose you here for a minute and tell me exactly what you do differently for somebody who is looking to buy a home that the average agent doesn't do.
Todd, a lot. I really don't even know where to begin. To be honest, there are a lot of agents out there who just literally get an inquiry or open a door and get somebody through a house. And what I do is really dissect what my clients are looking for, so I'm not wasting their time, my time, and really get down to the meat and bones of it. I spend a good half an hour having a client come in for what I call a consultation, and really just going through everything, all their needs and wants, the reason why they're moving, really understanding their motivation and where they're trying to get. And also, if it's a first-time home buyer, this is my favorite part. I get to educate them. I get to familiarize them with the process itself, because a lot of these other agents, a lot of people are just thrown into the mix and really do not understand what happens when and next. And it's really important for them to understand what that process is. So I spend quite a bit of time doing that.
Well, you do that with everybody, right?
Everybody.
First time, second time, third time.
Second time, because, things change constantly in this business, and it's important to understand, for example, contingencies. It's important for a buyer to understand when those contingencies are, what they mean. There are a lot of elements to that. So I spend quite a bit of time doing that. But the thing that really separates myself from quite a few others is I'm just not satisfied.
40 transactions, Brian, separates you from the others. But let's.
I'm not one just to sit and wait for the right home to hit the market for my clients, and I'm not going to take it.
What do you mean by that? What do you do?
What I do is once I've identified an area, a community that my client wants, I could then find a floor plan that's similar. And if it doesn't, listen, right now we're in a market where there's just lack of inventory. It is what it is. However, I can tell you that 28% of the deals that I have done for my clients in the past several months have been off-market opportunities. And what I mean by that is I will go out and I will create that inventory for my clients. So I'm not sitting waiting for the MLS to ping me with a home that might match. I'll create it for my clients.
So you'll actually door knock on people. You'll go
everything.
You'll go, if I want to live in, let's just call it, let's go Del Sur for the sake of argument. I want to live in Del Sur and I want X floor plan. There's nothing on the market. You'll figure out what homes are there.
100%. And whether it's door knocking, whether it's calling, whether it's through one of our papers that we have that is distributed to the community, whatever it is, it's constantly thinking outside that box to create that inventory and marketplace for my buyers. So
tell me a story, Brian. I mean, what I want to hear is, have you had an experience where a buyer has been working with another agent, and then they started working with you, and they went, wow.
Yeah. Recently I ran into a buyer that was at an open house. His agent was just sending him constantly to these open houses just to review and look at some of these homes. And this was going on, believe this or not, it was going on for 2 years. 2 years, going in and out. Okay.
Wow.
Well, one, I don't know if the buyer was really ready in the first year, but he was ready to purchase in the second year. So what I did was I asked him if he wanted to get together, understand the process. First of all, he was a renter, didn't understand the process, didn't understand anything to do with the purchase itself. So I sat down, familiarized him and his wife regarding the process, really got down to what the important things that they're looking for, their needs and wants. On the second visit, I sold them their home after looking for 2 years.
You've got to be kidding me.
No.
You sold them a house. So they've been working with another agent.
Yes.
And for 2 years, who basically, as let's call it, as Dan and I would say on the listing side, list and pray, which is basically just putting a sign in, and we've talked about that. We should come up with a term for this. This is basically just email and pray that they go to these open houses, and you actually treated them like a person.
That's right.
You actually heard what they were looking for, and then you drove them in your car and showed them. And the second house that you showed them met all their boxes, checked all their boxes.
Correct. It's about listening to what the buyer is looking for, understanding the market, understanding floor plans, and also managing their expectations a little bit, with price point and what's realistic, what isn't. But we were able to accomplish everything they were looking for and they're happy they've moved into their home since then, and they're not going to open houses anymore. I can tell you that.
Well, Brian wants to do this for you. So what we're going to do as just for our listeners is Brian is willing to meet with you one-on-one, give you a buyer's consultation. And if you end up working with Brian, and what we'll do, and you end up doing a loan through Home Street Bank, through us, through Todd or Taisha, we'll pay for your appraisal. But you have to call 858-900-3368. Again, 858-900-3368, and Brian will do what he just talked about, this one-on-one consultation. I've got to believe there's tons of you out there that are sitting there that are getting these emails from your realtor saying, go look at this house, go look at this house, go look at this house, or don't even understand the buying process. And Brian's willing to do this for you for free.
It's not about throwing a dart at a wall and hoping you're going to hit some sort of target. It's really just listening and making sure we're pointing our energy in the right direction. That's all it is, and creating that inventory as well. So
as we talk about too, one of the things I have a question, Brian, is you're part of the team at the Daniel Beer Group.
Yeah.
And so, but you also have kind of your own team, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you explain that a little bit to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times, and I do work with clients that expect me to be somewhere, and I can't be in two places at once.
Well, you're going to do 40 transactions this year. That's like almost a like a transaction a week, Brian. I wouldn't expect you to be able to be everywhere all the time.
That's what I have. Someone who's basically an extension of myself. She's an integral part of myself and my team here, and the Daniel Beer Group. To be frank, her name is Bree, and she's fantastic at what she does. And she's another listener. She's another person to certainly assist when I'm not there. And
what she does for you though is if you're unavailable to show a problem,
if I'm unavailable,
you're still going to do the consultation.
100%. I'm still going to negotiate. I'm still going to do absolutely everything. This is for that off chance that I saw something that's hitting. That hits the market, and I know I have to get my client through, or it's a time that of an off-market property that I found for somebody, and the only time that would work is such and such time, and I'm unavailable and Bree is. So it's just making sure that I'm getting my clients through the door when they need to in order to make a decision if it's something they want to move forward with.
I mean, you made that decision because you're very client-centric. I mean, we know that about you. You really care about your clients, and you want to make sure on those off times that you're not available, that you have somebody who can take somebody to show them a house that meets their criteria.
Yeah, I mean, Todd, listen, we're in a market right now where there's just lack of inventory, as I had already mentioned, and things are moving quickly. So we really have to make sure we're getting our clients through those doors immediately so they can basically reserve the right to move forward with that house. And that's what it's about. And waiting a week is not going to cut it in this market. It's just not.
Yeah, I mean, marketing times. I mean, we're down to 2 months worth of inventory on the market in some areas, and I mean, it's amazing to me how you've done so many transactions, and I mean, you've had so many success stories with buyers getting homes. I mean, 40 transactions. Again, as we talk about, the average realtor does 2 to 3 transactions, and that's even on the listing side or the buying side. You've done 40 just buying transactions. That means you've helped 40 families get into their home. And what's so amazing is that Brian is willing to sit down with you and do his buyer's consultation one-on-one for free, help you buy your home, get you into the property so you and your family have a place to sleep at night. And if you meet with Brian and you do your loan through Taisha and I, we're going to pay for your appraisal. So what I'm super excited about, what I want to hear about, Brian, is when we come back after the break. Oh, let me give you the phone number to schedule that appointment with Brian. Sorry, 858-900-3368. Again, 858-900-3368. And when we come back after break, what we're going to talk about is, I want to talk about, Brian, I want you to really tell me some of the things, give me a good story where you actually won in negotiations, because lots of people are losing on deals right now in the marketplace. So see you right after break. Don't forget 858-900-3368. You can meet with Brian. KOGO 600 AM. Talk to you soon. Welcome back to Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer and Todd Pianon from Home Street Bank. We are so fortunate to have in the studio today, because Dan's on vacation, we have Brian Danney in our studio, and Brian is part of the Daniel Beer Group from Windermere Homes and Estates, and he is their #1 buyer's agent. So excited to have you here, Brian. What I want to know is that you've done 40 transactions, 40 buyer transactions this year. And we've got lots of listeners out there who are buyers in the real estate market right now, and they keep losing when they write their offers. So how do you win versus them losing?
You know, it's really not rocket science. It's really just communicating with that listing agent. It's really important having some sort of relationship with them. But it's also separating your client from the pack. And in doing so, you have a lot of these sellers out there that they've spent 10 plus years in their home and they're just still attached. And yes, they're moving on to the next phase in their life, but they want to know who's taking over their home. So what I do is a little creative. You know, I'll put together an actual booklet, like a presentation explaining who it is, my client, who's going to be purchasing the home, who will be taking the pride and ownership away from this seller, and whether it's a letter, a cover letter of some sorts, a photo. I go that extra mile because ultimately that makes the decision. That helps make the decision. It helps give some sort of comfort level knowing who's taking over the home, because it is an emotional decision in a competitive market. Yes, it is about price as well. But this is a big element to it that a lot of people are not taking advantage of.
So a lot of listeners out there are probably thinking, oh, well, Brian sold 40 homes, or he's written offers on 40 homes out there in the marketplace and helped 40 people get into their homes. But he works for the Daniel Beer Group, and you guys are going to do 120 transactions. So probably all 40 of those homes are probably your own listings.
Yeah, no, a lot of my business. Dan, listen, if I can negotiate a deal with Dan, fantastic, but it doesn't always work out to my advantage, and I don't always necessarily
doesn't work out when I'm even the lender.
That's right.
And you're writing the offer on one of Dan's listings because Dan is so protective of his clients.
He is, but at the same time, I'm still going to find my client another home, and that's the bottom line. I do some deals with Dan, and I represent the buyer solely, and he only represents the seller, and it works out well, because I can literally knock on the door and negotiate with them, but we still have a negotiation process. But I still do a lot of other transactions.
Well, the majority of them, right?
Yeah, a lot of them. I mean, I want to say about 85% and close to 90 are really just product that I've created for my clients are out there on the MLS. So with other agents, whether it be within the Windermere agency or another outside of that. So, yeah.
So, Brian, we're talking about, multiple offers and how you've gotten people successes, and it sounds to me like you're humanizing them. If you're having pain points right now, one of your pain points is that you've written multiple offers. What's super cool is that Brian's willing to meet with you and consult with you for free. And you can reach out to him at 858-900-3368. He'll set up an appointment with you in the office. He'll hear what your pain points are, and I guarantee you, we always tease Brian about one and done, which means that he usually finds the perfect home and he writes the offer up. But you can reach him at 858-900-3368. And again, like we talked about, if you end up working with Brian, you end up working with us over at Todd Pianon over at Home Street Bank, we will pay for the appraisal on the purchase that you're purchasing with Brian. So, but besides humanizing them, Brian, I mean, there's got to be don't give us your secret sauce that makes you that much better or greater than everybody else. But what else do you do? I mean, I know as a buyer, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to say, hey, my number is $500,000. Well, that's not going to get me the house, and I'm going to keep banging my head up against the wall, and you're going to keep showing me houses and not. I mean, what else do you do? I mean, how else do you win? Because we have a lot of listeners out there who I know have written multiple offers multiple times and haven't gotten their houses.
Well, Todd, as I mentioned earlier, I create inventory for my clients. So if that happens to be the case for one of my clients, and they don't have to basically be in a competitive field with in competitive environment with other buyers, they are the only one that's really negotiating with the seller. So that brings a different element to the entire process.
So you're finding stuff that's off the market.
Off the market, not currently listed.
So it's you against the seller, not you against the 6 other people that are writing offers on the same
Correct.
property.
Or sometimes the seller will bring in their agent or whatever that is.
Right.
Which
they should do.
They should do.
They should do.
But it's a different environment when I find that off market product and I'm not dealing with the marketplace.
I have another silly question to ask you. So, and I know your numbers based on the fact of, the business that we do together, but when I work with you, and just like when Dan lists a house, he always claims he can, there's proof he sells it very quickly. And he sometimes sells it for over asking price, or he sells it within the range of the asking price. How many times have you seen when you've written offers for clients, gotten them the house, they've actually walked in the door with equity?
A lot. And I can't give you a specific statistic on how many times, but a lot of the times. Okay, again, not to reiterate myself, we are in a competitive market. We are in a low inventory market. So sometimes my clients do have to pay above the asking in order to get the home that they really want for their families. However, and with that said, I'm still negotiating on a majority of these transactions anywhere from 3 to 4% off of the asking price for my clients. And in doing so, these homes, they're basically building equity. These homes are appraising at higher levels, and I have happy clients, and that's what it's all about. It's about appreciation and helping your family grow on a financial level. So.
To me, it's always super exciting when I get to call Brian up and I say to Brian, I go, Brian, do you realize that you put this client in this house and the appraisal came in at, you sold it to him for X, but the appraisal came in with Y? I mean, I don't know if the word tickles me is a good word, but I know that it just shows you how hard Brian works for his clients to make sure that he gets them the best deal, the best house for their needs. And the fact that what you just explained was you knocking on doors and creating your own inventory, so you're not putting yourself in a multiple offer situation, which is what's happening to a lot of you out there right now, is that your agents are just, let's call it write and pray instead of list and pray. Yeah. They're write and praying, and you're with everybody else in this whole big mix. You're taking that piece, that power away, and actually getting them into a home, getting them in. I'm super excited about that. I can't, it's awesome. So here's what Brian's willing to do. Brian's willing to meet with you one-on-one in his office for free. You can set an appointment with him at 858-900-3368. Brian will do for you what he's done for 40 other people this year. Write this number down, 858-900-3368. And like I said to you before, what I said to you before is if you work with Brian and he helps you buy a house, you do a loan with us, Todd Pianon, Taisha Lindsay at Home Street Bank, we will pay for the appraisal just by you making that simple phone call and meeting with Brian at 858-900-3368. We come back from break. Brian's going to give us some interesting horror stories that he's
had. Just in time for Halloween.
Just in time for Halloween. So thank you. We'll talk to you after the break. Welcome back to Real Estate Exposed here on KOGO 600 AM with Todd Pianon and Dan Beer from the Windermere Homes and Estates. We are, I think Dan's on vacation, so we're super excited to have Brian Danney from the Daniel Beer Group from Windermere Homes and Estates here in studio talking about how to buy a home, how to get the best price get the best price when purchasing a home. He's already explained to you what he has done for his clients, which has been amazing things. He's written and sold over 40 transactions year to date, and it's such a privilege, Brian, like I said earlier, to have you here because I love working with you and you do such a great job.
Thank you for having me.
But so Brian, as you alluded to as we were going out before break, that it's Halloween time. So So tell me some
Spooky
horror.
and scary.
Yeah. So tell me some horror stories that you've had, that our listeners may want to know a little bit about.
2015 was an interesting year. I had some, listen, every transaction is unlike any other, and I've seen a lot of things. And this year, I came across a few when referring some vendors to some clients and not listening, and it certainly came back to haunt them a little bit in the process. So
explain, what do you mean by that, Brian?
Well,
and Brian's going to pump me. I think he's going to pump Taisha and I up a little bit right
yeah,
here.
I mean, so I'm not going to name who the vendor was, but it was in a big institutional bank, and my client was adamant about using them because it was where they had their personal banking. And we were in an escrow process where they've already identified the home that they were moving forward with, and we had our contingencies already removed. Excuse me, let me go back. They had their investigation contingency removed and not their loan contingency. And we were now 3 weeks past due, and they were basically paying out of pocket for extended escrows. They ended up spending over $2,500 because we could not close on time. And the issue was, get this, the issue was I was talking to a different agent at this big institutional bank, a different one every day. Sally one day, Tom the next day, Jesse the next day, and I could not get an update. I could not keep the open communication with me and the listing agent to then inform the seller, and it was a mess. And the one thing I can tell you is
it closed.
It eventually closed, but my client was out of pocket and had to pay some penalty because of the delay, because they wanted to use their preferred vendors. And with my trusted vendors, that does not happen. That is not the case.
And who are your trusted vendors? Who do you love to send your loans to?
I do a lot of business with Todd and Taisha, and I have yet to see a hiccup. Sincerely, I have yet to see a hiccup in any of the transactions that I have done with them.
And we appreciate you, Brian, because we appreciate all the business that you send to us, and we love working with you.
Oh, the feeling's mutual.
The open dialogue that Taisha and I have with you to be able to tell you what's going on, provided that the buyer wants us to give the information that we're comfortable giving you. But I mean, we have yet Taisha and I always call it the silver bullet. We have yet to hit this. We have yet to gotten hit by the silver bullet. I mean, we close on time. Yeah. Our rates, are really competitive. So we're super excited. So, and also another story. I mean, I know in your office, because you have a couple other buyers agents. I mean, they worked with another institution, and there was a problem with a homeowner's insurance policy in this thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the exact details of it, but there was an issue with the insurance, and somehow another agent on our team, Ryan, was fantastic, worked very hard to get this deal done, and somehow created some sort of new insurance policy of some sort.
He got it done by hard work and just basically perseverance.
Hard worker.
But if the client would have gone to us from the beginning, we were okay with the insurance policy. So that's one of the things that and then they could have refinanced with the big institution after Ryan did everything he possibly could. Which again, you have to understand how the Daniel Beer Group works, and you have to understand how Brian works. Is they don't stop. They work for you. They don't work for anybody else. And so one of the things that Brian's willing to do, he's willing to offer to you for free, is a sit-down consultation for free to find out how he can help you get your dream house. And that number to reach him at is 858-900-3368. And Brian will set up a one-on-one appointment with you. He'll go through his presentation with you. He'll do that for free. And I guarantee you're going to love the guy. He's the best guy out there. 858-900-3368. And if you use Brian and Brian recommends us, and you end up closing and we end up helping you buy a home and do the loan, we will pay for the appraisal on that, which I'm super excited about. So, again, Halloween's coming up, Brian.
Yeah.
We both have kids.
Yeah.
As some of you don't realize, Brian's a new father.
Yeah.
What's
I have a
Dylan going?
4-month-old,
Yeah.
and today actually.
Happy 4 months, Dylan.
That's right. That's right. And we're kind of playing around with a few different ideas.
Winnie the Pooh?
No, not Winnie the Pooh. I don't want to reveal it quite yet, but we're a Kings player was one of them.
Uh-huh.
We ruled that out because my wife is unfortunately a Penguins fan, so we couldn't go that route. But yeah, we have a couple options here. I'll certainly if I'm happy to be welcome back to the show here, I'll reveal.
Well, you'll post pictures on Facebook. I'm sure.
I will do that.
So
yes,
we'll get to see
without
those.
question.
We'll get to see those. I mean. Yeah. It's really your first Halloween trick or treating since
It
you were
is.
a kid, right?
I have no idea what to expect. Yeah.
Lots of alcohol.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Lots of alcohol is what I'd recommend. It's actually it's a fun experience. I mean, the whole family is actually getting into it this year.
Yeah.
We're all wearing costumes.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's our daughter's first trick or treating experience.
And are
too.
you going to reveal what she is going as, or is it no secret?
It's a secret right now because we're still working on it.
Okay.
I'm not the best dad in the world. My son's already picked out. He's going to be Drax the Destroyer from Guardians of the Galaxy. but
that's a good one.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
So we want to wish you guys, because we're not going to be back till after Halloween. So have a happy Halloween, and we'll talk to you, next Sunday. I just want to thank you very, very much for listening. Also, don't forget, like I said earlier, Brian is willing to meet with you one-on-one and discuss with you, help you get you through those pain points. 858-900-3368, and Brian will do a one-on-one consultation with you. It's been a pleasure spending our Sunday with you. Thank you very much, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Todd.
I am Todd Pianin from Home Street Bank, a member of the FDIC Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number ID number 304014. Have a great Sunday, and we'll see you next week.